Alright, so here's where I just did the intake and exhaust. 8.6 on the exhaust, 7.7 on the intake. The intake's kind of fat and crazy looking, but let's see if I can. You can see that faint line in the middle. That's where it's making the most forced contact. And that's pretty much in the center. Right there. That looks real good. So in here's, you can kind of see the faint line there again where it has most contact up towards the top here. And that's just a smidge high but still center, because the difference was 8.6 or 8.650. And I think this one's got a better contact. And that's what we'll order. Alright, so this 454 now is finally had the oil priming done. Everything's set up. All the lashes set up on these rockers. And gave it a final coat of paint on here. We're going to put the harmonic balancer on, and the valve covers and the intake manifold. Probably the intake manifold inside the car on this El Camino G-body stock hood. Not exactly sure what's going to fit under there without a modification to it. So with that said, I'm going to put it in and we'll find out. I'll put a few different intakes on there with the carb after the hood's on, and then I'll set it all up once it's done. I figure out what I can actually fit in there. Online is kind of a whole bunch of different opinions. Just got to do it in person to really know. Alright, so at the point here, it's just kind of showing that all the rockers are set up and the oil priming's done and the final paint coat. Just going to put on the harmonic balancer and then the flex plate in the back, and we'll drop it in the car on the new motor mounts. Okay, so this is the other part here where I'm just showing the motor mount with the urethane filler inside. Just kind of letting it still set up. It's been about 2 days and still a little bit soft actually. I know one guy online said it took about 6 days to cure. So once I get this in here in the motor, it can cure the rest of the way on its own. That's just kind of like the way it's looking when it's finished. I didn't try to go for some kind of show quality, just kind of smooth it a little bit and make sure it's pretty much level in there. And we'll see if this makes any difference. I mean, hopefully. Alright, so I just took this break because we're right on the edge of putting the 454 into the El Camino here. And I was just kind of taking a pause because reevaluating all my clearances. Doing it by yourself sucks, so gotta take your time. And it's almost in. Okay, so here it is. Not too hard, not too bad, you know, just like you can see this. I got the heater box out of there, which does give you can see all that clearance there. I've never done this big block G-body swap, so everything is kind of like, you can see how much even in front of the radiator there's at least a foot of clearance there. So after the water pumps on, and gives me a good 6 inches to put electric fans in front of the radiator. I'll come over here on this side real quick. You can see the power steering. You know, the pump is right here, but I mean the power brake booster. There's a pretty good amount of clearance even between that. I don't have the bolts down there in the mounts because I'm going to try to fit up a couple different sets of off-the-shelf headers next and see what headers fit. Big thing was, this is a Torquer 2 intake I put on. It's not actually totally set up. I just have it on there without a gasket. So I could drop this in with that hook plate. But by looking at the back firewall and how much space is here between where the hood closes and this, I couldn't find a lot of information. A lot of times it's saying RPM intake is too big. You gotta have a performer or a torquer if you want a stock hood. But I seen pictures of guys having 3-inch elements with an air gap intake on their big block underneath a G-body. So I kind of did this just so that I can put a couple different intakes on here once it's set up and I put the hood back on, and I'll find out what actually fits under the stock hood. Try to answer that once and for all instead of everybody kind of guessing. I'll know for sure, and I'll try to post all that information in a separate video. Right now I just kind of put it in and just showing how much room is in there. It's not like it's stuffed in there, or I had to put any kind of special boards to keep things from getting smashed and directed in there and not taking out parts. So far so good.